I relocated from North Carolina to Dallas about 3 years ago, and this video is my review on living in Dallas. Some of you are thinking about moving to Dallas, and hopefully this video will kind of help you to give a fresh perspective on what it's like living here. And I'm from a small town in North Carolina. I'm about an hour outside of Charlotte, and I spent my entire life in the Carolinas. I've got some family in South Carolina, Lake Wiley area. I have family in North Carolina, Hickory, which is exactly where I'm from. Nobody lives out in Texas. So when I told my family that I was thinking about moving out here, they said that I was gonna meet a bunch of cowboys. Basically joking that I should not come home with a cowboy. Spoiler alert, that is not Dallas. Dallas is not a bunch of cowboys. Maybe if you go out to the farms that are like hour, 2 hour outside of Dallas, maybe you can find some cowboys. In Dallas proper, absolutely not. It is way more glamorous than I ever expected. It's a little ritzy titsy, as my family would call it. There's a lot of money in Dallas. Luxury real estate, really nice cars, Highland Park Village. If that gives you any kind of inkling on what it's like living here, it's, you know, parts of it are very ritzy. And that's something that I definitely did not expect here. I honestly expected cowboys. I expected to see wide open land. I definitely didn't expect it to be this developed. And I know some of you are like, Brielle, did you ever even come to Dallas? How did you not know? And no, so I came to Dallas once before I moved here, and it was the year before. I was visiting a friend. She lived down in San Antonio, and I basically came down for a girls trip. All of us had like a great time, but I saw maybe Dallas for half a day. I moved down here pretty blind. I know, it's crazy, but it ended up working out pretty well. Needless to say, the geographic difference is pretty crazy here. I grew up on the lake. My family had a mountain house about 45 minutes away, so we were always up in the mountains. That's where we got our Christmas tree every year. Love hiking, biking, raft, everything outdoors, boating, beach days. I mean, that was my life growing up. We were always outside doing something active, and then compare that to Dallas. It's like a night and day difference. I will say, Texas does have some really cool places that I've been able to visit over my 3 years here. One of those is I traveled down to Lake LBJ. We spent some summers down there, and I love LBJ. They know lake life. Another place was Fredericksburg. It's a little bit outside Austin. Pierce actually took me there last year for my birthday. We stayed at a place called the Walden Retreat. Highly recommend. It was stunning. We had some elevation finally that you just can't find in Texas. That's the hill country of the Austin area, which is just so beautiful. If you love nature, Austin might be a great spot for you, maybe not Dallas. Dallas is very glam. And then Austin is kind of where you do all the outdoorsy things. They have a saying down there, keep Austin weird. And it's a little hippie down there. It's a really cool area, very different vibe than Dallas. White Rock Lake and Grapevine Lake are two lakes here in Dallas. I think Grapevine Lake is absolutely stunning. I think the same thing of White Rock Lake. You can do some outdoorsy things on White Rock Lake. I know you can take a boat on Grapevine Lake, but you definitely cannot take a boat on White Rock Lake. That's more so like paddleboarding. They've got sailing, rowing, and then there's an awesome little trail around White Rock Lake that people bike on, walk on. They've got a great dog park out there, so if you've got a fur baby, for sure, check out White Rock Lake. One great thing about being in DFW is we have DFW National Airport at our fingertips. You can fly to the East Coast, West Coast pretty fast. Pierce and I took a trip to Colorado last year at this time, and cheap flight, short flight, we were there, back, it was a long weekend. I mean, I think that's one of the benefits of living in Texas is you can really just hop about anywhere. And then as far as like traveling within the city, you know, DFW is a pretty big area. So if you're in Dallas and you're wanting to drive up to Frisco or Plano, or you're wanting to drive to Fort Worth, you are definitely driving. I wouldn't rely on the public transportation. I just simply wouldn't. Everybody here has a car. You're gonna want a car for sure. But I moved in 2020, so when I got here, there was not a lot of traffic because a lot of people were not moving around. This was the time where we were all stuck in our houses, scrolling on TikTok. That's kind of what it was. So there was not a lot of traffic, and I was like, oh wow, okay, like I don't know what people were talking about traffic being so bad. Well, flash forward a year when everybody's going back to the office, the traffic is pretty crazy. And I know if you're coming from somewhere like Atlanta, California, you may not compare the traffic as being as bad, but coming from a small town in North Carolina, traffic's pretty crazy. We have so many people that relocate to Texas from all different parts of the country, and you have so many different drivers. I mean, when you have a hodgepodge of people, you also have a hodgepodge of drivers. And some of these drivers, they're the worst. And if you are on 75, my prayers are going to you. That road is a death trap. And I hate to say that. I hate to say that, but it is. I mean, that and the part of 635 between the tollway and 75, like, you better be praying. You put your phone down. You don't do anything while you're on 635, especially that little gap, because it's just wild. It is. I could go on and on about the traffic here. It's actually crazy. Oh, and another place that's kind of bad for traffic is 380. So up near Prosper, so very far north. If you live in Dallas, you'll never go up this far. I almost guarantee you'll never go up that far. But if you live up that way, Frisco, Salina, Prosper, you will frequent 380. And 380 is pretty heavily trafficked. All the growth has happened to the north. So a lot of the northern suburbs up there, like Frisco, Prosper, Salina, Anna, McKinney, they have just blown up, like taken off. And so there's so many more people there. Nobody knew that it would be like that. So the roads are not as developed up past 380. They have extended the tollway though. So that was a big plus. Big plus. Friends and dating. So what's the friend scene? What's the dating scene? So friends, when I moved to Dallas, like I said, I had one really, really close friend here. I met my roommate off Facebook. Facebook is a gold mine for making friends, making connections. Me and her ended up like hitting it off. She was one of my best friends. I met a lot of people through my friend Emily because she went to Baylor. She was a Baylor Bear. So I had so many Baylor Bear friends. And it just kind of happened like that. I met some friends at my corporate job when I first moved here. I met some now friends in the real estate industry, so I've got a lot of industry friends. And it just kind of multiplies like that. They've got a couple Facebook chats. There's one, Girls New to Dallas, and then Girls New to North Dallas. And I will put those right here because they're great. The dating scene. I've heard mixed reviews. When I moved here, I hopped on Bumble, I hopped on Tinder, I hopped on Hinge. Bumble and me were a match. That's how I met my boyfriend Pierce. I thought the dating scene, I thought it was pretty good. But I've heard mixed reviews. Some of my single friends are like, the dating here sucks, like there's no good men, like they're all just wanting to hook up. And then other friends of mine have all met their significant other on like Bumble. And so I'm like, maybe Bumble's where it's at. Subtle plug. Compared to all the other suburbs in DFW, I would definitely say that Dallas has a majority of the young people. And a lot of them are in the same shoes as you, right? They relocated here, they don't know too many people, so there's a lot of young people who are really open and willing to meet new people. And that's, I think, why the Facebook groups have been so good, is because it's all the same type of person. Nobody knows anybody. They're all like in their jobs, young in their careers. Opportunity and state income tax. I feel like these two reasons are the biggest reasons people relocate here, and rightly so. You know what they say, everything's bigger in Texas. Everything truly is bigger in Texas. We have bigger stores, we have bigger roads, we have bigger opportunities. There's so many corporate headquarters in Texas, and there's so many corporate headquarters coming to Texas. There's so many. And they're across all different kinds of industries, right? Silicon Valley is all tech. Dallas, it's just about everything. Throw a really good job, no state income tax on top of that. Texas is looking pretty good. Pretty good. Anyway, I mean, it's a growing metropolitan city. What's not to like? Coming from a small town in North Carolina, cost of living here is pretty on par. You know, I was outside Charlotte. I frequented Charlotte very often. I would say it's pretty much the same as far as like groceries, gas. We do have the tollway here. That was a new thing for me, paying tolls. If you live somewhere in like East Dallas, let's say, you'll probably never use the tolls. Honestly, you probably won't, because you can get anywhere on 75. But if you live somewhere like Frisco, or you commute from Dallas to Frisco, you're gonna want the little toll tag, because trust me, it'll save you so much money. I resisted for the longest time, racked up a bill, and then when I got into real estate, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be driving so much more often, just gotta suck it up and get the toll tag. And that's what I did. But I would say it's pretty on par with Charlotte cost of living. If you're coming from somewhere like New York, Chicago, Boston, Seattle, California, you will probably have sticker shock just because we don't have a very high cost of living. It's lower than the national average here. I will say the housing prices are going up. We have so much demand, but we do not have the supply for it. So put those two together and your housing prices are gonna go up. I think the DFW market as a whole was way undervalued before 2020. I think we've had the national spotlight on us as Texas being such a great place to live. Obviously, all these people came to Texas and our housing prices went up, rent prices went up, cost of living went up a little bit. So I do think our market was undervalued. I think we're probably on par for what we should have been a long time ago. When you have a little under 1 million people moving to Texas in the span of 2 years, that's what happens. And the last thing that I'm gonna touch on, food and culture. And maybe I should have touched on this first. Save the best for last. Food and culture. I touched a little bit on the culture. There are so many people, they relocate here. I've said that a million times because that is literally Dallas's MO. People relocate here. All over the world, all over the country. This is such a transplant city. If you are a foodie, you will be able to find anything under the sun. As far as foreign food, I mean, you've got Asian food, you've got Tex-Mex. Tex-Mex is what we're known for here. And let me tell you, I had no idea how much I appreciated a good marg and a taco. I mean, I never understood. I get a margarita and a taco and I was like, what? And then I did. You want a good margarita and a good little Mexican plate? Somewhat basic. I know you locals are gonna be like, Brielle, are you serious? But it's a classic. And it's one of the first places that I tried here when I moved to Texas. Mi Cocina. You go to Mi Cocina, you get a little mambo taxi, but be careful. Consider yourself warned. Those things will F you up. And they'll F you up in the dirtiest way because you never see it coming. You know, it tastes so good. 1 or 2 or 3. Consider yourself warned. A mambo taxi, and I'm trying to remember the other one. Is it like a limousine? Is it a limousine? Something like that? I don't know. But anyway, mambo taxi for sure. Get it. Okay, and then the other most important part of culture, the shopping. Now, if you're moving from a big city, maybe the shopping will not be as good to you. Coming from a small town, we didn't have a Zara. And when you have a Zara to shop at, your life changes. It just does. And we not only have one Zara, we have 2 Zaras. One at North Park and one at the Galleria. Galleria is located closer to Addison, so it's a little bit further north, comparatively between the two, like North Park and Galleria. I'll do a separate video on all the places to shop. It's coming. I would say Galleria is very chill. You've got a lot of your like regular stores. If you go to North Park, that is an experience in itself. You've got to go to North Park and just hang out for the day. They added a La La Land. Just go get yourself a coffee. Go to Zara. They're adding a Nike store, by the way. Super excited about it. Before the Nike store in North Park, they were going all the way up to Legacy West to go to the Nike store. And Legacy West is another really cool area if you want to venture out into the suburbs, the Plano, Frisco area. Legacy West is really cool. It's another place to shop. I swear, I'm gonna do another video because there's just so many places. And another one, I'll just tell you one more. Little bonus, favor the kind. Cutest freaking boutique in Dallas. If you're visiting, you gotta go. It's a little hippie. You can find really cool gifts there. I really try and go there to get a lot of my closing gifts because they're just really unique things and you can't find them everywhere, so they make really great gifts. If you're one of my clients, then you're probably gonna get a gift from there. I get 70% of my gifts from Favor the Kind. That wraps everything up. I hope this video is super helpful, insightful, maybe gave you a different perspective that you didn't have beforehand. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions about moving to Dallas, if you're debating 2 different suburbs, hey Brielle, we're just not sure about Plano, Frisco, McKinney, which one do you recommend? Please reach out to me. There is no such thing as a stupid question, and I would love to help you be way less blind than I was whenever I moved here. If that's helpful to you, reach out to me. My contact information is below, and I will see you on the next video.